Hey guys, get ready for episode number 219 with Taylor Jones, the CEO of The Tiny Closet. Let's talk about your business, strategy, and the juicy details of what actually works, from mainstream fashion to fashion on Main Street and the entire ecosystem behind it. How do we scale your company and do it with the balance and the happiness that we all seek? Let's hear from those insiders, experts, and strategists that actually make it happen. I'm your host, Ashley Alderson from the Boutique Hub, and I can't wait to chat. Don't you just love the saying, be the CEO that your parents always wanted you to marry? Well, Taylor Jones, the CEO of The Tiny Closet, has definitely taken that to heart. Today, I'm so excited to share Taylor's story with you, but also to take a deep dive into so many of the questions you guys have asked after the Boutique Summit and hearing Taylor speak on our Marketing to Millennials panel. So we're going to talk about all things on the gram, what it means to work with millennials, and how Taylor has built her mobile boutique into a mobile boutique empire with not one, but two school buses, Teeny and Tiny. I know you guys are going to love this episode because there are tons of takeaways inside. So if you're serious about growing Instagram, get ready to take some notes. And I think you'll relate to so many of the things Taylor has to say. Guys, I hope you enjoy this episode. When you're done, make sure you let me know what you think over on Instagram at AJ Alderson or Boutique Hub Business. And as always, you've got to share what you're doing while you listen to the show. I love seeing your feedback and your action-taking items every single week. Let's do this, you guys. All right, guys, for any of you who have been slamming your phone against the wall, wondering what is going on with Instagram, I'm so excited for today's episode because during the Boutique Summit, you guys loved hearing from Taylor Jones on our marketing panel. So, why not have her on the show and get into the nitty gritty? Taylor, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Oh, man. So I know you've listened to the show. You're friends with a lot of the people who've been on the show, so this is no stranger to you how it works. But for anyone who's not yet familiar with you and your business and the really unique brand that you've created, why don't you start by telling us about the Tiny Closet and your unique place in this boutique industry?
All right. Yeah. So we started the business in 2017. I had been in some really hard relationships. And I think that I had mentioned that before to a bunch of people that I was basically told being in the South that like you had to stay at home. Women weren't meant to do anything except cook and clean. And that was it, that I was like only supposed to do that. And I knew in life I was supposed to be so much more. So I told Mom, I was like, I kind of want a store. And she was like, what? You've never like dressed up in high school? Like I was in shorts or like sweatpants and a t-shirt every single day. Like I didn't know anything about fashion. And she was like, okay, let's do it. So we 2 years ago said, let's start a store. And I mentioned to people before also that I tried to blog like when blogging was just starting. And that was the hardest thing I'd ever done. But I loved the fashion part of it and like telling stories with clothes. I just didn't like buying a ton of other people's things that I thought were in fashion. And so on one of my tabs for my outfits, it was called The Tiny Closet. So we just kind of stuck with that.
Man, so I did not know this about you, that you weren't like into fashion, so to speak. So you've got to tell me more about that because you were also in pageants and pageant girls love fashion, right? So how did that all start to unfold?
So when I was in high school, I didn't start pageants until I was 18. So I kind of started really, really late in the game when everybody else had been doing them since they were like 10, 11, 12 years old. I started when I was 18. And it all kind of came about because we were prom shopping for my very first prom. And I saw this dress that this girl had on. And I was like, oh, I want that dress. And the woman was like, oh, well, that's a pageant dress. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do a pageant because I really like that dress. So I was getting like my hair and makeup done. And then I was just like, I'm going to keep doing pageants. So I started doing them. And then I realized like you have to be fashionable like in the pageant world. So I was like, let me see like if I can really like look into something. And if I really like something and I'm interested in it, I like deep dive into it. Like I like find everything I can. I research everything and I'm just like, I got to do it. So that's kind of how it started.
Man, so
I was not a fashion person at all.
How did you start to find your style in that sense? Like once you got into pageants and realized, oh, I like this, because you have a really unique sense of style right now. So where did that come from? Like what was your inspiration behind it? And then how did you decide from pageants, now I'm going to start to sell clothes to other women like me?
Right. So in pageants, your whole thing is you always want to stand out. And from the beginning, that's what all of my coaches had said. Like, you have to stand out. You have to be confident. You have to do something nobody else has ever seen. So doing that and bringing my pageant life into what I do now, I was like, it was just like a habit. Like, you have to stand out. You have to do it. Let's go. So that it really came from being in pageants, wanting to have different outfits than everybody else did. So you did stand out and you did win. So now in the fashion world, I'm trying to stand out from everybody else. I'm trying to win that customer over. And yeah, my style like goes from right now I'm literally in Spanx and like a t-shirt. And then some days I'll walk in and I've got on like wedges and like ripped jeans and like a crop top. Like my fashion just is all over the place sometimes. And that's how a lot of people are now. Like we talk about millennials, that their mind is going 90 to nothing all the time. So of course their outfits are changing every other day. So that's kind of how we have our styles all over the place.
I think that's super smart because your customer is really dynamic. And I think it's really easy in fashion to try to put yourself in a box, but man, that's kind of the last thing you should do, right?
Right.
So how did, because not only did your fashion stand out, but now in business, your business is in a school bus, which also stands out. So where the bus come from?
So I had a bunch of friends that had done mobile boutiques. They had trailers, they had Airstreams, they had step vans. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, I think I want to kind of go mobile, because I was like, as somebody that is a millennial, and I don't like going into stores anymore. Like, I hate getting out of and that sounds so lazy, but I hate getting out of my car. Like, if there's not even a drive-through, like at Starbucks, I'm like, I'll find another. Like, I don't like getting out. So I was like, it's the same thing. I walk in, I stand in line, and I leave. So I was like, I want to do something that people like want to take photos with, because everything right now is like, you want it to do it for the gram. You want to do it for Instagram. You want to get those people to like that photo. You want that content. So when I started thinking about like, how can we be different? I literally was sitting in a car and a school bus went by, and I was like, a school bus. And mom was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we need to put the store in a school bus. And she was like, Taylor, that's ridiculous. And then I went and told my dad. And my dad has a big thing about like old cars. He has had like 3 Camaros and has fixed them up and then sold them because he just loves to work on them. So when I told him I wanted a bus, he was like, Taylor, that doesn't make any sense. I need you to explain to me why a school bus. Like, you don't want an Airstream. You don't want like a van, a trailer. I was like, no. And so when I finally explained to my parents, like I came out with like a business plan and was like, look, we need a bus. And so 2 weeks later, dad calls me. He was like, I found a 40-foot school bus. It's yellow. You want to paint it pink? I was like, let's do it. So they were all for it. They were ready to do it. But that was the whole idea of the bus, was millennials want to pay for experiences now. They want to get something out of giving their money to somebody. So what better way? Like, even if they don't buy something from me, they get to experience something. They're taking photos of it. They're tagging us. And then that's showing our store to all of their followers that could be all over the world. So we really wanted to do something different, wanted to do something fun. So instead of a tiny house, we have a tiny closet.
I love it. And it's expanded. So tell me about the names of the buses and how it's continued to grow.
So we have Tiny, which is the 40-foot one. I don't remember. I think my dad actually was the one that named it Tiny. And then we were at a pop-up and there was another school bus there, but it was a smaller one. It was the short bus. And my dad looked at me and I looked at him and I was like, we need another one, don't we? And he was like, yeah, we do. So he was like, let's do another one. And this one, so like if we have an event, like we have one in Kentucky, but there's also another event that's happening in Nashville. So like the girl that works with me, Sarah, she can go to Nashville with Teeny and I can go with Tiny somewhere else that can't take a 40-foot school bus. So we have Teeny, and then I had a customer. She was like, you need to get one and name it Teeny and then have Tiny. So we have Teeny Tiny.
I love it. So there's got to be some challenges when you go to pop-ups when it comes to having a 40-foot school bus, right?
Right.
So talk to me about how, as a mobile boutique, how do you navigate some of those challenges and find the right events to set up at versus just any event?
Right. So what's nice about when you're mobile, a lot of times that you don't need a parking permit. You really just need permission unless the people that own like a parking lot can say, yeah, sure, you can come. But if it's somewhere where like we're somewhere like in our town, like we have to have a parking permit, we have to have permission. And I've been to some pop-ups, like we went to Mississippi, like when we first got the bus, and I told them, I was like, I have a bus. And they were like, okay, yeah. So I was like, I need to buy 3 spaces. And they're like, okay, sure. So we show up and they're like, oh, it's like a 40-foot bus. And I was like, well, what did you think I meant by a school bus? So the only thing that's kind of difficult is when we go to events now and it's somewhere where we have to go in, we have to buy more spaces. So like if one space is $1,000, I'm having to spend $4,000 for one space. So it's one of those, it's like, who's the demographic? Who's going to be there? Is it going to be long enough for us to be there? Like if it's like one day and we're going like to Kentucky, it's not going to make sense. So we have to figure out like, is it the people really going to buy from us, or does this pop-up want us there just for exposure for them? So we kind of have to like, again, deep dive into researching where we need to go, how much money is it going to take us to get there, including hotel, food. It just has to be profitable for us. Otherwise, I would drive like to New York if I could, if money wasn't an issue about getting it there.
Yeah, that's interesting. So have you found ways, like with some of the shows you set up at, or with maybe some of the other vendors that are at some of the shows, to collaborate so you can get a return on your investment, not just by, the clothes that are coming out of the bus that people are buying? Like, how else have you maximized that ROI?
What do you mean by like collaborating and everything?
Like, if some of the shows that you go to, like there's a win in it for them to have you there because it is the bus and because it is an experience. Have you found any unique collaborations like that?
Oh yeah, we are. We actually are going to one that is in Kentucky, and they were like, hey, we really want you here. It's the second year we're going to do that. You don't have to pay us to set up. You don't have to give us any of your sales, but we want you here. And I was like, so really all I'm paying for is gas, because they were like, oh, we'll give you a hotel too. And I was like, okay, I am on my way. So that's good exposure for up there, because the girl that contacted me was actually like a very big blogger that we've worked with in the past. Mm-hmm. So once we started to grow and she saw that like, we need you here in Kentucky, we were like, okay, sure, let's go. So I've made friendships with people. So that way it's like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. We're there to help each other. So I'm helping her by coming to the show she needs me to be. And she's helping me by maximizing what my profit's going to be.
I love it. It kind of goes back to what you're talking about, just this whole, what it's like to do business with millennials, which I think is probably often misunderstood, but collaboration is a huge part of millennial culture.
Right. It really is. And I don't know if I said this at the summit, but our entire mission at the Tiny Closet is to be the CEO your parents always wanted you to marry. Because like I said, I was told that I couldn't do anything else because I was a woman, and I wanted to show everybody that I want to be that CEO. I want to be more than a CEO, but we really want women to feel empowered in our clothing. And there have been times where I have seen somebody that is either like starting up their business, like the girl that works with me, Sarah, she has her own jewelry business. And anytime that I can send something to, like, we dressed Miss USA all last year. And anytime I sent something to Sarah, I said to my Sarah, I was like, throw in some of your jewelry from your business and get that exposure with her, because I want her to grow as well. So I'm like, hey, throw your stuff in. And then Miss USA like posted a photo in Sarah's jewelry, and she like freaked out. She was so excited. And I was like, so now her business is growing because I was able to help her, but she's also helped me in a ton of ways with the store.
I love that. Do you think that there's other misconceptions people have about doing business with millennials?
I think that some people do. A lot of times people think that millennials we're lazy and that we're always on our phone and we're not doing anything that's good for like the world basically. But I've come in contact with a couple of those people, but there are some people that they are so excited to hustle. Like, I think that that's what this generation is that we are all about a hustle. We do side hustles if you're in a full-time job, or it's your full-time hustle. I've had so many girls at young ages come to me and say, you inspired me because you're so young to start a business. And I was like, go for it. Start the blog, press submit, try to get that promotion. I mean, like, that's what I really do appreciate with millennials, is that we are very hardworking.
Man, absolutely. I'm sure that none of that has come easy. So would you say that would you say there's been some definite doubters along the way, and how do you deal with them as they come?
It was really hard kind of in the beginning, because I thought whenever I started that I had all these friends that would buy clothes for me all the time at full price. And that wasn't the cause there. It was a lot of people I had to kind of just drop off, because there were people that didn't have good intentions with me and my company. And it was a lot of people that were, even in college, like I graduated in fashion merchandising, and in that field of study, people are very intense. They're very competitive because everybody wants that better job. So I was the girl that I wasn't really trying to compete for internships because I didn't need to. Like, I already had my business. It was going very well, but people were really ill and upset that I was already knowing what I wanted to do in college. And I had people like make fun of me, tell me that it wasn't real. And it was just those people that now are coming to me going, hey, I'd love an internship. And I'm like, well, remember back in that class in college when you told me I couldn't do it? Yeah, we're not accepting those right now. Thank you. But like I said, I really had to just kind of cut off and conserve my energy, because that's all the energy I have. And I can't deal with people that aren't looking to better themselves and keep going.
Do you think that is, as you think about people who follow you today, right? Because you're an inspiration for others. Just like you said, you're a mentor, right?
Right.
And you're growing up in this culture of everything's online. There's so many keyboard jockeys and internet trolls. What's your advice to other people who have to deal with that same kind of like doubter or keyboard jockey, and how do you brush it off and keep going?
Right. I know I say that I brush it off, but there's been some times that I have had like a meltdown and have completely like had to go to like my family and my boyfriend and be like, I'm not doing this. I just need to delete all of my social media. And they were like, Taylor, it was one person. And I was like, I know, but like, I mean, I've had people that have messaged me like on fake accounts being like, you're scamming people. I know you bought that shirt for $1 and you're selling it for 20. I'm like, that's not how it works, but okay. And so it's just been times like that where I start doubting myself, but then I have to remember that like there's that one person, and then there's all these other people that continuously buy from us, and they're loyal customers and they believe in us. So I know that I've always said that like, I'm not trying to make just an income with our store. I'm trying to make an impact. So it's like, I'm not trying to sell something every single minute. I'm trying to create a community with them. So to remind myself why I did this, why I started, the girls that I'm helping as much as I can, that one troll cannot stand against the community that we have built, and that I know that would continue to support me.
Oh man, you're hitting home for me even when you say that, because that's a hard thing to face that most people don't understand. Like, even when you have an amazing community like you do, because I see it every day, and like I know we do at the hub, sometimes it's hard to shake those people, but you have to remember
just that
like
one person too that like doesn't even have like a profile picture, any followers, but you're just like, oh my God, they just hit me in the heart. And I'm like,
yeah.
Blake's always like, Taylor, just breathe.
Right. What's the saying? You'll never get flack from people who are doing better than you.
Right.
Something like that. Right.
Right.
It's always, jealousy can be a really tough itch to scratch, I think, for some people. So I admire you for what you're doing. Talk to me about your community, because when you first started the bus, like any boutique owner starting their business, it's not always immediately that you find your community and who your ideal customer is. So how did you start to narrow that down?
Oh my gosh. In the beginning, it was so hard because we were I like worked at a boutique kind of like I modeled a little bit for about a year for this one in town. And so I always thought like, oh, this is what everybody's wearing because it was what was in my town. So after when I started mine, I started buying like all of this stuff that I mean, like, I didn't even like it. Like I didn't want to wear it, but that's just what I saw everybody else had. And I was like, this isn't working. We're overbuying. Nothing is selling. And so once we started to narrow down like who was buying from us, I'm a big people watcher. And that I always tell people that sounds so creepy. But like I don't mean like I'm like stalking people or anything, but I'm always like really curious like how people shop and like their mindset. Like, why did you not like this one piece? And they're like, oh, I didn't like the color. I'm like, so the fabric is okay of it. The length is okay. You like the sizing of it. They're like, yeah. They're like, if it was in a different color, I think I'd like it more. So just asking questions to my customers all the time. And like when somebody returns something, I'm like, sure, I don't mind you returning that. Do you mind me asking you why it didn't work? And so that is the best way that I've been able to get like data from people. And a lot of times too, like in our community that we build, I call them tiny babes, but they are very truthful with me because I'm very truthful and real with them. So if they don't like something like Taylor, that's going to be too much money. Like when we go to market, I'll be like, what about this? And they're like, no, it's going to be too much, not for something that's like here and gone. So it's been nice that we have had a bunch of people that have straight up been real with us and been like, no, or yes, please get that. I'll buy one right now. So it's nice to have that loyalty and that family.
That's a really unique perspective that I think maybe only in the last 3-4 years, I think has become such a term in marketing is authenticity.
Right.
And it doesn't come natural for everyone.
No.
You know, some people I think are intimidated to ask that question online, or some businesses are intimidated to get feedback at all from their customer.
Right. No, so I thrive on that.
Talk to me like strategically though, like how you do it. If someone's like, how do I get that feedback? I know, you know, you're doing Insta stories all the time. You're doing IGTV. Like strategically, how are you being authentic with your customer and how are you getting the feedback back from them?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of get up there and I just talk because when I talk, it always just feels so much better. Like, I mean, I have anxiety a lot. I mean, I think all entrepreneurs do. And so when I'm like in a weird mood, like I've just got to talk it out. So when I can like get on live and just tell everybody like how my day's going, I have people come to me and talking. But like I said a minute ago, I'm not always trying to sell something and I'm not always asking questions about like, so you guys, how do we like this outfit? Because that gets boring sometimes to people. So I'm asking like fun questions. I think I said this at the summit. Like at one time I was like, so would you rather shoot whiskey or would you rather shoot tequila? Like which one are you? And we had a ton of feedback on that because they knew that I wasn't trying to sell something. They knew I was just trying to make them have fun. So whenever I do go and ask those questions of like, hey, do we want this top or this top? Then they're like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to build credibility is what I'm doing. I'm trying to show my customers, like, I don't just want your money. I just want your opinion, really.
Yeah, so that's dynamite.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely been because, I mean, I know that this is what I do. I go and look at a lot of like other businesses and I look at bloggers and everything. And if I'm clicking through their story, I'm asking myself, why did I not want to listen to this? Why did I just click through? Like, why was I not like interacted in that? Was it because they weren't like loud enough? Was it because it was in the same setup? Did I not just want to listen? Like, where was I and why did I not want to do it? So I always like go and do what my customers do. So I'll go shopping and I'm like, why did I not want that? Was there something about it? Was it the way it was set up? So that's what I mean by like people watching. I like watch why people don't want things. And then I change it to the opposite of that.
I love that. Talk to me, same note. So authenticity is key in marketing, right? But I've heard you say this a million times. So is the experience, going back to the millennial thing. How can our industry do a better job providing experiences? And besides the bus experience, how else do you try to pull in experiences for your customer?
We try to be, like I said, super duper real every second that we get. Like there have been days where I've just been in a funk. I couldn't get motivated and I would just go on live in our we have a tiny VIB Instagram. So that way it's instead of like a Facebook group, we have an Instagram group that's set on private and it's only like, I don't put like a bunch of boutique owners in that. I don't let just like everybody in it. Like we really try to just keep like a small group of like customers. And it's not that I'm trying to like not let anyone see what I'm doing, but I just need to like have like my loyal customers in this area. So that way I can say like, hey, is this going to work? Is this a no? What do we think? So I try to be really real with them. And when I see them in person, I'm like acting exactly like I am whenever I meet them. Like I don't ever want someone to be like, you're not the same way you are on Instagram. Like if I'm going to be loud on Instagram, I'm going to be loud in person. If I'm going to sit here and like make and not have makeup on, like I'm going to do the same thing in person. So I really think that if you're like in a brick and mortar and you're in some way on Instagram or Facebook and you're a certain way in your lives, when you meet those customers, they're excited to meet that person. So you need to give them that like first impression experience. If you're having a funk, you need to step out of it real quick and then go back into your funk, because that one-time experience is going to set it off from like there on out. Because I have met celebrities, I have met people that I admired, and as soon as I met them, my first impression of them was they're not real. They're not real that they're showing everybody else. So I was like turned off by it and didn't care anymore.
Man, that is dynamite right there. So tell me more about the gram. I know you get asked this question all the time, especially after the summit, because you talked a lot about that from stage.
Oh, yeah.
But there's probably people that are listening that are dynamite, right, on the gram, and they just want to maximize it. And there's probably others that are scared. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
If you are scared of Instagram, talk to me about how someone can start to get their feet wet and find success with the basics.
So with the basics of Instagram is in the beginning with Instagram. I feel like I'm like telling like an old time story. So in the beginning of Instagram, it was always the algorithm, that nasty, nasty word, is posted in order. So like if you posted at 5:00, it was going to post at 5:00, and everybody that got on Instagram at that moment started at 5:00. So that's not what it does anymore. Instagram now sees like the kind of tool it is. So with like YouTube and everything, everybody wants to be on YouTube. Everybody wants to be like Instagram famous, because there's so many millennials that are trying to be that like $1 million blogger that is getting paid through social media, or that YouTube star that is trying to get a sponsorship on their video. So social media is trying to weed out all of those people that aren't serious. So if you are posting a photo and you don't think anybody can see it, it may not be that they can't see it, but people don't want to like it because they almost don't want to give up their likes. I don't know if they think that they have a certain amount of likes, but they don't. So they don't want to like it because in their mind, they're like, oh, I don't want to give you my like. I don't want to see this all the time. Because if I mess up my algorithm, then I have to see this all the time, and it's not something I want to see. It's kind of like whenever you do your Netflix and you watch a show, and then all of a sudden Netflix starts showing you all the shows that are similar. And you're like, I only watched that for like a second, and I don't want all of this messing up my feed. So it's kind of like that in a sense. So the best thing that I can have like you do is like you go and like other people's stuff. Be genuine. You need to comment on people's stuff. You need to have giveaways with people that you genuinely want to have giveaways with. Because I have seen people, and I have talked with marketing people like in New York City, that a lot of people do those loop giveaways where it's like, you're going to follow all of these people, and it's building your number, but not your engagement. And that is where like that number can grow all day. You could be 1 million followers and you have 700 people like it, but your content has to come up. So that's why we travel a ton, because we're trying to get our content up. That's what everybody wants. They want to see something different.
So would you put more weight in Insta stories or in your main post feed?
It's kind of 50-50 in a way. Like I get a lot of engagement on our stories because I'm like talking and people can like interact with me that way. Like they can hear me speak and they're like, oh, but like if I post a photo, they can't hear it and they can't relate to it. They may be like, oh, that's a really cool photo. So I think that you really have to focus on both. Like we don't really have a theme in ours. Like we don't say like, okay, we need to post like a product photo and then like a double one. And then we got to do this. We're kind of just like, if it looks good and it's not like an eyesore, then we're going to keep going. All of our stuff is like very bright. It's very happy, but it's edgy in a way.
Mm-hmm. How about how many times, I see this question come across all the time. How many posts per day, either on your feed or in your stories? How much is too much?
It kind of depends, I think, on like your customers, because there's been some boutiques and there's been other businesses and bloggers and just influencers, period, that like I've seen them post 7 times a day. And I'm like, whoa, like I don't even know what your first post was. And I saw number 8 or whatever. So I'm kind of like, that to me is a turnoff when I see somebody posting like 27,000 photos of just clothes, because in my mind, I'm like, you're just trying to sell me something. And I don't want to try to be sold to. I want in my mind to think I made the decision to buy it. So we try to post like maybe 1 to 3 a day, kind of depending on where we are. Our girls and our customers, a lot of times I like to say they like to shop during class. So like Monday through Friday, all of our customers are like really big on social media. That's when they're buying the most from us. But on weekends, we really don't have nearly as many as we do during the weekdays, because all of our girls are in class. They're not paying attention. They're on their computers and they're shopping. Because I was that college student that did that. I was that person that was at the desk or whatever during work, pretending like I wasn't, and I was doing my work and I was shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of, I think, just depends on, one, who is your customer? What are they currently doing right now? Are they in class? Are they taking the kids to school? Are they like at a full-time job? Like, I think it really depends on who you are, but I don't think posting 1,000 photos a day is helpful. Like ever.
Yeah. Well, like you said, quality over quantity.
Right.
No matter what, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like our content, like there may be a day that I'm like, okay, we're going to post this, but then like the next one is going to be like something that's like, oh, by the way, this is where we're going to be. And then the next one I do might be like, oh, so again, who's shooting tequila this weekend and who's doing whiskey? Are you staying home or are you going to the beach? Like, it's just kind of like, who is your customer and what are they doing? So that's where we are with like our content and our Instagram. And Instagram is an entirely different beast.
It is a different beast. I'm not done with Instagram questions yet. Are you okay with keeping going on the Instagram train?
I am all for it.
I can't let you off that easy. You know that, right?
You keep going. I can filter these out. Like I'm telling you, I take days sometimes where like, if I'm bored, I'm like, you know what I need to be doing? Because I'm that type of person, I can't sit still. I'm like, let's deep dive into what Instagram is doing right now. So I've done tons of research on it.
I love it. So next question, because I think this is a common like miss by boutique owners, is what do you put in your description, like your photo description? The quality of the photo is important. You covered that, but the description, you mentioned something, I don't want to be sold to. I want it to be my decision that I bought something. And I think that translates into how you write a good description. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Because there has been times, like I said, that I'm just like, oh, you're going to tell me that this shirt is $20 and it comes in small, medium, large. Cool. Like it's not like interesting to me. I want to read something that's like fun and interesting. So another thing that Instagram does is it depends how long you're on a post to what is for them to show you what you want to see. So the longer you're on a post, the better. So sometimes whenever people have like all these views on Instagram is because they posted a video, is because those people are watching that video full through. So we try to post videos a bunch, but we also like to do longer descriptions. Like I sit there's sometimes, I'll have like, if my description at the top is going to say like, we are headed to Orlando this weekend, we can't wait, who's coming? Well, I'll go down and do like some dots so there's a space, and then I'll have another line that says this outfit above features so and so and so. And then I'll have it down a little bit more, and then I will do our hashtags. Because the longer they're on your post, the more it shows Instagram that you like it because you're on it so long.
Yeah.
So, but you got to kind of break it up. So the best way to keep someone longer on a photo is to make the description longer, but not to a point where it's like there's this huge caption. That's why we have to like break it up, and I'll do like dots, and so there's like space in between it. So it's like easy to read, because I know I hate when some people do like super duper long captions and I'm like, oh, I'm on line 3 and I'm done.
Exactly. How about hashtags? I mean, because it used to be where you had up to 30 hashtags and you packed them in there, but now it's definitely changed. Can you talk about that?
Right. So last year at the summit is when I actually learned about hashtags, and I was like, oh, what? So deep dived into that. But we still, like, there have been times where we will do hashtags and it won't really do anything. And so I quit doing like copy and pasting all the hashtags I do. And I was taking the time to say hashtag cheetah dress, hashtag trending, hashtag blogger inspiration. Like, I was really trying to do it instead of just copying and pasting it and it being the general like summer outfits, the spring outfits, travel outfits. Like, I was bored of that because I was like, is anybody really following the hashtag summer outfit? Or are they like looking up like, what's big right now? Cheetah. So they're looking up cheetah outfits. I think you have to start personalizing it a ton to your picture, like to your entire post. Otherwise, it's going to get generalized and it's just going to be shot down Instagram's list.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so true. What about Instagram TV? I know that was something we talked a lot about this year at the summit and was new to a lot of people. And now I've started to see activity among boutiques really pick up on IGTV.
Oh, yeah. And I was so excited when I did see, because I talked about it and I've seen like a couple people do IGTV, but it wasn't like the content they needed to put it out. Like, it may have been like a minute video of just like an outfit or like new arrivals. But I started seeing people really look at behind the scenes. They're doing their photo shoots. I mean, I've seen some people that did it at the summit. And I think that, you know, what's something really big now is like people and millennials are watching YouTube a ton. And with YouTube, they're watching all these vloggers that vlog their daily life, and they're done watching TV because they're getting reality every single day. And people are nosy, like straight up, people are nosy. They want to know what is going on in the business world because they don't know anything about it. So when you do Instagram TV, you're getting more views that way because you can do swipe ups. Like, even if you don't have like 10,000 followers, and if you didn't know, you have to have 10,000 followers to have that swipe up link on Instagram, then you have that ability to swipe up on your IGTV. And then IGTV allows you to have a 1-minute preview on your feed. And then people are watching the beginning of your IGTV, and then all of a sudden it'll say keep watching, and then they can click on it and it'll take them straight to that. So that way they're not having to go on another platform to view your content. So IGTV is starting to really get big now, and it's not nearly as saturated as YouTube is. So it's helpful.
Man, and such a big opportunity that I don't know everyone realizes that they have. And we talked again about this at the summit too, in the Content Sanity plan and with the Content Sanity Masterclasses. You can take so much of that content that you're creating for IGTV, but cross promote it. Now it can go on Facebook in your Facebook group. It can go on YouTube. You can pin it to Pinterest. Like, we all need to take a step back and stop working harder to create more content. We just need to be smarter about the content we create and use it multiple ways.
Right. Absolutely. And another thing with IGTV, Instagram is going to make it to a point where you can run ads on IGTV. So the more views you get on one, Facebook or Instagram can start paying you. So that's another way that you're making a profit through your social media, all the way up to, you're selling clothes in that post. So it's eventually going to get to that point where it will monetize your videos. So if you're already really big in that now, once they do that, you don't have to try to build it up. Like, you're already built and you're there.
Right on. All right. Are you ready for a lightning round?
Let's do it.
Oh man, that was a lot of Instagram talk, but it was so good. So a couple of questions. You give me the first answer that comes to mind.
Oh God, I don't know if you want that.
We'll have fun with it. All right. Your favorite book?
My favorite book is, I'm actually reading Profit First right now, and I really like it.
Perfect. Oh, and he killed it. It was so good to hear him speak.
Yes.
Mentor,
I want to say is Diana from Red Dress, because she was really a big inspiration of like me doing it, because I loved watching how whenever she would put like collections together, how it told a story. And I've told her that before. And I was like, your clothes talk. And like, I can see where they're supposed to be in that. So I want to say Diana.
I love it. And we owe you like a huge thank you, because you connected Diana to the Boutique Hub, and then she was able to join us at a couple different events. So that is what community is all about.
Oh yeah. Well, as soon as I saw, she was like, I want to do a Q&A. I was like, Diana, I got you. I know a great place that is going to love you and ask you a million questions. It's already set up. I got you.
Perfect. All right. Your favorite quote?
Be the CEO your parents always wanted you to marry.
Perfect. Your favorite trend at the moment?
My favorite trend? I really like, I know it's like the boyfriend jeans and everything. I've always loved boyfriend jeans, but we have some in the store that we sold out of that they have so many holes in it. And I love that because I honestly don't like wearing shorts during the summer. I'm a weirdo. So like the more holes, the better.
Ah, perfect. Airflow.
Yeah.
All right. Trend that you wish would go away?
Probably neon. I'm a little, not like some neon I really like. And then there's sometimes I'm like, that is so much neon. It's burning.
Yeah. Well, the good news is
justified.
The good news is fall will be here in fashion before you know it, and it will be gone. All right. Snakes, payroll, or internet trolls, which scare you the most?
What'd you say? Snakes,
payroll, or internet trolls?
Internet trolls. They freak me out. Just because it's like that one person that I'm that type of person that I'm like, somebody doesn't like it, we have to destroy it all. Like, and then I come back to reality and I'm like, oh, you know what? Block.
Right, exactly. All right, your favorite app on your phone?
My favorite app?
Mm-hmm. Other than Instagram.
Hold on, I know this was a lightning round and I'm so slow at it. I completely understand. There's actually one that we like recently got and it was called Pick Collage. And I know that sounds like a collage, how everybody used to do it, but you can like do the whole, like if you've ever looked at like the Mayfair group, how it almost looks like they've cut out pieces of a vision board and like posted it somewhere. We're able to do that all over it. And it's just a fun way to mix it up on stories.
I like it. All right. Best health habit.
Best health habit. I spray rose water on my face every single day.
Talk to me about this. I just started doing this.
Oh my gosh. I love rose water. Well, I have really dry skin. So, and of course, living in Alabama, like the heat never goes away. So I like, it like hydrates your skin. So after I'm like at the gym, I will like keep it next to my bed and like on my desk and everything. And whenever I just out of habit will just spray it on my face and I'm like, ooh, I feel hydrated. I did something.
Quick win.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I'm having a bad day. Rose water.
Right on. All right. Last question. Your best personal success habit. What's one thing you do that you think really sets you up for success more than anything?
That every day I have to look at myself and say, we can do this. You're here because you got out of bed that day and you did it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of times that, like I said, like I like this morning, I was like I'm so tired. I got in the morning and I sat there in my mirror and I was like, we can do this. Get up. You got this. We're going to have a good day. You're here to empower and motivate people every single day. You've got to wake up and do it. So once I finally do it, and I have all these people that'll comment being like, I was having such a bad day. Thank you so much. I'm like, okay, cool. I helped somebody. I'm good. So that's always my win when I have people that message me and they were like, I don't know how to match your energy today, but I'm here for it. I'm like, cool. I'm so glad.
I love that. All right, girl. Well, before we wrap up our very last question, which is always kind of a bigger picture question, I just have to tell you thank you. This is always a ton of fun to get to chat with you, and I know you bring a ton of value. And I love the fact that today we got to talk about not just Instagram, because I know that's super helpful, but also this topic of millennials. I think that you bring a lot of interesting points to the table, and I think it's a message that a lot want to hear. So I appreciate you for that.
Oh, well, of course. That's what I'm always like trying to tell Blake, my boyfriend, this stuff all the time. And he's just like, I don't get it because he does nursing. So like when I'm actually able to talk to people and like rant about things and get excited about millennials and Instagram and new trends, to have a community like the Hub to like go to, it's been awesome. And the Hub has helped us grow a tremendous amount. So I should be saying thank you to you.
Well, it's all about building friendships at this point. Like, it's so cool to see not just your store, but so many great stores come in and from the very beginning, see you start to grow and evolve, and now seeing you at different events and markets and meetups, to have a friendship that forms over time, that really means a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, last question, girl. So Taylor, I know you've already talked about this, but this business is not just about selling clothes, right? It's about something that we're creating outside of just the products and this bigger mission that we all have to fulfill in life. So talk to me about your long range plan. You're married, you've got kids, you've sold the business or whatever it is you're going to do with it, pass it on. And you're sitting on your front porch with your grandkids years down the road. And you're talking to them about the life that you lived and the business that you created. And the question is, what is the thing that you want them to know about your story? And what's the legacy that you want to leave on the world around you?
So I kind of mentioned in the beginning that I did have really, really hard relationships. And in high school, I was known as like, oh, that girl that was like obsessed with her boyfriend and didn't want to be friends with anybody, when in reality, it was abuse and it was really hard. So I could have allowed that to be my life and would have been known as the girl that was abused all through high school. Or I could have been known as the person that started a business to help other women, to help them feel successful, to feel empowered, and to just really help. Because I've said that many times through this, and I will continue to say that I'm here to make an impact, not just an income. There's a lot of things that we want to continue to do with the store. And it's not just, get a storefront or get another bus. Like, we want to be able to help women that maybe can't help themselves at this point. Like, we really want to get to a point, we want to start a nonprofit that helps battered women in a different way to shop. Because my mom worked at a battered women's shelter. And I was asking her, how did they get clothes whenever they would, need them? She was like, oh, we would go in a room, we'd put it in a bag and we'd hand it to them. I was like, so they never got that experience to shop? And they were like, no. I was like, so they couldn't just go into TJ Maxx or into a boutique and shop? And she was like, no, they can't. So what we want to do is we want to bring any clothes that are unsold in other boutiques and in our boutique. Like, if it's that one thing that just like can't sell, but it's brand new, you've marked it down to like $3. We want to make a shopping experience for those women. We want to go and set up at these shelters with the permission of the organization, set up it just like it would be, just like any other store, have racks, have hangers on everything in sizes, and allow these women to come in with the organization and shop. Because people take for granted that we can just walk in somewhere and shop, but these women can't. So I always want people to know that I'm here to make more than just an income. I'm here to be more than a CEO. I really, really want to help.
I love it. Well, Taylor, thanks again so much for your time today, for being a part of the community. And I love the mission. That's what we're all about. We're definitely on the same page. So I appreciate you and thank you again.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope that you loved it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a rating and review down below for a chance to be one of our featured listeners each and every week. For more information on our spirit of community over competition and how to access complete show notes and bonus downloads from our guests, head on over to theboutiquehub.com and join the community. We'll see you next week.